These are some Dinar Guru updates, starting off with Sheila. The latest rates estimated quotes the anticipated opening rates because we don't know how high the rates may go based on Forex and or your ability to negotiate a higher rate. Most recent anticipated opening rates, Dong 47 cents, Dinar $3.81. Claire article quote, what are the reasons for the weakness of the Iraqi dinar compared to other currencies? An economist answers, quote, Al-Mashahadini said the other matter is trade, that is, import and export, without relying on the government sector in particular. In Iraq's markets, as a result of the large discrepancy between import and export, it is natural that there is a great demand for the dollar. The Iraqi dinar has been an inevitable situation for nearly 20 years after one dinar was equal to $3.50 during the past century. It reached more than 1550 against one US dollar, which caused problems in the Iraqi economy. Militiaman says the oil and gas law, they keep saying they're going to have things done. I believe these guys have already done almost all the legwork. There's an article quote here. They're in very advanced steps in accelerating the legislation of the oil and gas law. Militiaman says they're basically saying we're going to approve the law and end of story. That's phenomenal. Pimpy article, quote, oil, gas, and law. A law resolved the dispute between Baghdad and 8th region and a gateway to open all the files. Pimpy says the oil and gas law issue has not been resolved. This has been ongoing for years. The hangup has a lot to do with the oil fields that were found after the Constitution was written, and they're saying technically it belongs to them, but Iraq is saying no, still belongs to us. Sampson has an article, quote, the dinar is in the central recovery rooms and accusations against the Americans of creating crisis. The sources of country strength in the economic field are determined by several factors, foremost of which is the national currency, which requires elaborate measures to maintain its strength internally and externally. And the basis of these measures is to activate the private sector, expand the import sector, and reduce exports. Walking Stick says the pause of monetary reform is due to smuggling, the profiteering of Iranian politician who owns outlets. Frank 26 says it sure seems like the key to everything in the relationship between Baghdad and Kurdistan because that relationship agreed to open up the budget, agrees on HCL, agrees on Article 140, agrees on the oil rate, and without a doubt agrees with everything concerning monetary reform. They have exemplified that to Sadani. Militiaman article, quote, the dinar is in the central recovery rooms, the accusations against the Americans of creating crisis. The national currency requires elaborate measures to maintain strength and value internally and externally. On the basis of the measures to be taken will activate the private sector and expand import and reduce exports. Militiaman says, I may have this wrong, but to build out of the country, they need to do this just as it's being stated. They need to take extreme measures to get the imports increased and the exports reduced. Why? Because it is far cheaper to rebuild the country with strength in national currency. It's the foremost item that is now needed. And lastly, Tishwash has an article, quote, the Sudanese government acknowledges the experience of the dollar speculators and counts on September. The launch of the budget definitely means the availability of the funds. This means there is a large cash flow. Al-Awadi added many financial advisors in the government hope with the release of the budget funds that next month will be a catalyst for the very large decrease in the dollar exchange rate.